Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. Hope you're all doing well out there. It is 7 a.m. here in Nashville, Tennessee. It is August 5th, 2026. And boy, I tell you, the year is flying by. But here we are having a good time. And we're going to be talking about music movements being destroyed by I mean, it's kind of crazy. I have some notes here. Just give me one sec. I left my notes on my printer, which is not a good thing, but there you have it. So, there used to be a time, I don't know if y'all remember back in the day when we would have musical movements. We would have movements. Remember in the 60s it was wild, right? 60s. You can walk down the street in New York City and you can see Joni Mitchell, or you can see a Bob Dylan, or you can see any of these legends just kind of walking around. They're walking around just doing their thing and playing music, and then word of mouth got around, and then a movement started right down in Greenwich Village in New York City. You can go to Laurel Canyon in California. There was a movement there when you had the Eagles and Jackson Brown, right? There's movements in New York City had that movement, but it also had a rock movement as well. You can go to California, Los Angeles, and the Whiskey a Go Go, and when in the '80s with the what they call the hair bands, which I hate that title, but those musicians of the '80s with Guns N' Roses and all those other bands, and there were these movements, and it doesn't seem like we have a movement. Oh, and then grunge. Remember when Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, Alice in Chain, when they all came out, that was a movement, right? And I don't know, even the boy bands, right? I mean, even the boy bands, New Edition and uh, um, Boys to Men, of course, the big ones, In Sync and the Backstreet Boys, right? And that was a movement, and not, some people may not like that movement. I liked it, but it was a movement. And there was a time when entire music movements grew naturally over years. Motown, there's another movement, right? Motown wasn't built overnight. Grunge wasn't created by a marketing campaign. Punk rock, outlaw, country, and the British invasion all emerged from communities of artists who spent years influencing one another before the rest of the world caught on. These movements developed their own sound, style, attitude, and culture because they were given the time to evolve. They weren't chasing trends, they were becoming one. Today, the internet has changed that process. The movement, a new sound begins to gain attention, it instantly shared across the globe. Add AI to the equation, and the cycle moves even faster. AI can imitate a musical style, generate hundreds of similar songs, create artwork, marketing campaigns, and even social media content in a matter of minutes. Before a movement has a chance to develop its own identity, the market is already flooded with copies. What once took years to grow organically can now be replicated in days. And this is why it gets ruined. And it's also not even good. It took something that was great and then it kind of just adjusted it to its own style, to its own thing, what it thought that movement meant, and then it just replicates it 1,000 times so fast, and it can put out. This is why Spotify is such garbage, and why I actually deleted my account after years of having an account, and I curated a list. I had a playlist of. It was like a 24-hour playlist of some of the greatest melodies, songs of all time, classic songs, some modern songs, songs from basically from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. I mean, it was just a great playlist and I loved it. And I curated that for years and years, putting it together, putting on songs. My family loved it. I had a couple of people that actually had would listen to it. And then one day I'm listening to a song that just kind of was suggested. Sometimes I'll turn it on to just suggest new music because I like to hear new music. And this song came out, and I was like, and the vocals on the song were like amazing. And I'm thinking, why don't I know this person? And I'm looking at the name, and I'm like, doesn't seem familiar. I mean, if this is a new artist, I'm gonna be listening to this dude because his voice was phenomenal. I was just blown away at the how perfect it was. And so I'm listening to it and I'm thinking, okay. And so then I go back and I'm now looking for, I got home. I was driving when I heard it. I got home and I started going on the internet to try to find this artist's social media background catalog. Couldn't find anything. I'm like, not even a social media post, not even anything talking, anybody talking about this person. And then I was like, wait a minute, please don't tell me this is AI. I mean, I am going to lose it if this is AI because I got invested in wanting to know who this singer was. The song was okay. The song wasn't like, the greatest song ever. It was a really sappy kind of, I like sappy songs. And that's what it was basically. So I was like, you know what? I want to hear this, I want to find out who this person is. I want to hear some more of their music. Nothing else. And then when I did find where that was that thing, it was just a lot of different voices singing. So I grabbed it, I threw it into AI, and I said, "Is this AI or is this a real person? I can't find them anywhere." He said, "Nope, it's AI. It's not real." And my heart sank, and I thought, man, this is so disgraceful. I was so fooled. I immediately, the following day, actually, I canceled Spotify. Now I have a few people on I have the family plan. So I had to talk to my wife, my daughter, and my sister who are on my plan, and my son. And I said, I'm canceling Spotify. It sucks. And right now I have another platform that I just tested out. I'm testing out. So far, so good. Um, and I'm not going to say the name of it yet until I like it and I know that it's actually viable. It's a not a well-known one, but so that was the thing that really upset me, And so this is how fast AI can just create things. Imagine that happening, and Spotify doesn't care. I mean, they have millions of followers. This person, this fake AI person, and it was a disgrace. So the problem isn't that AI creates music, it's that it accelerates imitation faster than culture can mature. The greatest music movements weren't just defined by a particular sound, they were shaped by friendships, rivalries, local clubs, shared struggles, and sometimes the communities of artists pushing each other to be better. Those human experiences can't be mass produced. When technology spreads a style before the culture behind it has a chance to deepen, the movement risk becomes a trend instead of a lasting legacy. Perhaps the next generation of music, a movement, won't come from the fastest technology or the smartest art algorithm. It will come from artists who are willing to slow down, build real communities, develop a unique voice, and create something that can't be copied with a single prompt. AI may be able to imitate yesterday's sound, but it can't create tomorrow's culture. That still belongs to people who are willing to invest the time, relationships, and creativity needed to build something truly original. And that's the people. The people have to do that. That's why those movements were so big because they had nothing to do with uh speed. It had to do with development. It had to do with growing. It had to be do with being in the environment with others, experiencing that same thing. It's that thing that actually gets people. Like you look at, in the '60s, right? All the bands were, protesting. There was protest on the Vietnam War and things like that. So they would write these songs. There was violence happening in America. There was the Civil War movements. All those things build this movement of these singer songwriters that were writing these protest songs, right? Awareness songs, I like to call them, right? And a lot of these artists became legends because there was time for us to appreciate their what they delivered in the 60s. I mean, I was too young. I was too young. I don't remember that. I was born late 60s, so I don't remember the 60s music or the 70s per se. I remember maybe the late 70s. I remember, probably from like 77 on, I was really into music when I was about 9 or 10. And Elvis Presley, who passed away in 77. But I would listen to a lot of that kind of style, that kind of whatever was out on the radio at that time. And it took time for society to build and to really revere these artists. This is why most of the music, even on Spotify, 70% of the music on Spotify streamed is old music. That number might be higher now. This was a statistic from a few years ago, meaning that the songs that are streaming regularly, the most on Spotify, are 70 years old. Are 30 years old. 70% of them are 30 years old. So if you think about that for a second, you have artists like, who are people still listening to? Billy Joel, Elton John, the Stones are still around. Even Beatles are still relevant. People, the Beatles are amazing. They're still get millions and millions of views on all the platforms, whatever they're on. The Beatles, Michael Jackson, right? All these artists are still relevant, and still people are listening to. That's what they're listening to. That's what they're sampling. Some of the artists, right? So when you think about that, that means that the artists that are coming to here now, they're not creating. They may have a good marketing campaign behind them. They may have a good system of people really, a group of people that really revere them. Young people in particular, like a Taylor Swift, has a lot of young people that really like her. And I got nothing against Taylor Swift; she's fine. But a lot of the music is very safe. It's about romance and things like that. It's not doesn't have it doesn't push anybody to really think. So there really isn't a movement right now. We're not really in any musical thing right now. People are like, oh, everybody's listening to boy bands, everybody's listening to rock. Rap is huge. Rap isn't even big anymore. Rap has actually dropped for the first time in decades. It was always like number one. It's actually dropped now. Now it's more I guess pop rock, I guess you would call it. But there's no real movement of a sound that's really generated right now. It's sort of like everyone has their little pockets of things that are happening, and you either like that pocket or not, but nobody shares in that experience, which is kind of a sad thing when you think about it. It's just not the same as it was. Here are 5 ways to create a movement and stay ahead of AI. I don't know who I think I am to think that I know how to create a movement, but but these are 5 things that I thought, if there was a movement, if I was in the 60s, what would I be part of in the 60s, a musical movement? What would I know about, and what would I be trying to do if I was trying to live the life I'm living now, where I'm very involved in film and music and in art and in networking and in connecting people together. If I was doing that in the 60s, what what things would I do in order to create a movement, right? So that I had that viewpoint when I put this together. So number one is build a community, right? Not an audience. AI can generate songs, videos, and images, but it can't build genuine relationships. Bring artists together, host local events, collaborate often, and create a culture where people feel they're part of something bigger than themselves. That's kind of what I do now. I've done local events. I brought artists together. I introduce artists together. I have a talent agency where I have one artist signed, and so that's what I would actually do if I was there. So if you're here now and you think, okay, I live in a town, maybe you live in a small town. Maybe it's a small town and you want to actually be able to bring artists together. Go find your local theater, local, I don't know, whatever room, community center, whatever. Talk to the people there. Say, I want to bring some music here. Is that okay? I'll do everything. You have to tell them that, by the way. You can't say we'll team up on this. No, they're not going to do anything on it. If they're not doing it now to increase their venue or whatever, and to increase profits. If they're not doing it now, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it with you. They're not going to help you. So just tell them, I'll do everything. I'll do the marketing. I'll do the all the videos. I'll do obviously the graphics for it. All that stuff, the promo. You do all that stuff. Just tell them you're doing that, and tell them you're bringing the artist. But also ask them, if you know an artist that wants to perform, that's experienced. Make sure you tell them their experience, because they'll be like, well, my nephew loves to sing. He's always singing around, singing around the house. Maybe he can be up there. No, you got to be a professional singer. Bring those together, and that's a community, that's how you start. Number two, create experiences that can't be prompted. So focus on live performances, storytelling, behind the scenes moments, workshops, and personal interactions. People remember experiences far longer than they remember content. So one of the things that I'm putting together right now is, with the shows, with anything, we interview and we go behind the scenes with the artists. So it's almost like little documentaries of every single event. Little documentaries. You have a corner somewhere in the venue where you sit people down, you give them a mic, and you ask them a couple of questions and you thank them. Then they go up and they do their show, and then you put all those pieces together. So you need some time. You need to be able to know how to edit. You can use AI for that. If AI is anything, it's a tool to make you work faster, bringing real people together. That's how I use AI right now. That's number two. Number three, develop a signature style. So think about what you enjoy hearing as far as music is concerned, and bring those styles together. If you're a blues fan, bring blues together. If you're a fan that likes people that, I don't know, people that play hip hop music, you bring a show like that together. If you like rock music, if you like folk music, whatever the kind of music you like, you bring those things together, right? All right. So thank you. All right. So number four, move faster by going deeper, right? Instead of producing more content, create more meaningful work. Invest in your songwriting. If you're a songwriter, if you're a filmmaker, performer, and collaborator, depth is much harder to imitate than volume. So AI can do things volume, but they can't really go deep and emotionally. They can't really do anything emotionally. So it's kind of a that's it's kind of like how they operate, right? And number five, the last one here, is lead a mission, not just a career. Have a mission with your events and with your music. And if you're trying to create a movement, have a purpose to it. Like you want to help the environment, or you want to help people. You want to raise awareness to something, some social issue that you're passionate about. And so make it a mission. Do something spiritually, a religious cause, right? Every great movement stood for something bigger than the artists involved, right? Like in the 60s, right? You had the civil rights movements, you had the Vietnam War. Motown united musicians around the sound. Punk challenged establishment. Grunge reflected a generation's frustrations. Ask yourself, what do we stand for? For whatever the movement is. When people believe in a mission, they become advocates, not just fans, right? So, closing thoughts here for this morning. I appreciate you all being here. We are live here on all these platforms, including this platform here. Let's see if anybody's here. Oh, we got some real. You left my butt. Oh, okay. Somebody who's saying. And also, the haters that are on these platforms are awesome. Yesterday, I had a couple of haters on here, and I had my son with me, and I was showing my son how to handle them. So when you're making a movement, just know you're gonna have people that are just hating. They're miserable human beings in their own lives, and they hate themselves. So they're trying to bring somebody down. So you're going to run into that, especially when you're doing something like creating a movement or trying to bring people together for a good cause. There's always that little percentage of people that are sitting at home scrolling, just wanting to hate on other people, right? And that's usually an inner misery that they have. They hate their own lives, right? So you're going to run into that. So just remember that. So closing thoughts here. Uh, AI can replicate. Oh, I already read this, didn't I? No, no, I didn't. Here we go. Closing thought. AI can replicate a style, but it can't start a movement, right? Movements are built on shared purpose, authentic relationships, and a vision that inspires others to join in. If you focus on creating a culture instead of just creating content, you'll always be one step ahead of the technology. And that's my message for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. I got some announcements coming up on something that's happening on Wednesday. I'm sorry, today is Wednesday. On Thursday, tomorrow, and then the announcement will be on Friday. Also, remember on this that this is 8 a.m. Central. I go live on another platform that I cannot mention here because the platforms get jealous. And also, remember, I'll be here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Central as well. All right, friends, thank you very much for joining in. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day. God bless you all. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other because we're all what we got here on this little planet here. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning. And as always, peace.